to Direction Northeast. Hello, I'm Katie Parks. This program is a presentation in the Communication Department of Northeast State Community College. This episode of Direction Northeast will take you to the musical world of acoustic fingerstyle picking on the harp guitar. We'll meet our guest and start our discussion following these messages.
My name is Amanda Broom. I'm a mass communications graduate. I work behind and in front of the camera, and I got my start at Northeast State.
My name is Brad Ketcherin. I'm a registered nurse, and I got my start at Northeast State.
My name is Ann Rowell. I'm an actress, and I got my start at Northeast State Community College.
Get your start at Northeast State. Visit northeaststate.edu to register for classes. No matter where you're going, Northeast State is here to get you there.
Our guest is the first woman to have won the National Fingerstyle Guitar Championship. She has recorded over a dozen CDs and performs in the U.S., Europe, and the Far East. She is host of the renowned All-Star Guitar Night and founder of the Music for Life Alliance charity. Muriel Anderson, welcome to Direction Northeast.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Thank you. Now, my first question is about your new album. You have a new album coming, or it is out on pre-release,
Right.
and it's called Nightlight and Daylight.
Yes.
Explain to us, why did you pick that title?
Well, I started out as an album of music to go to sleep to for my best friend's first baby. It was a surprise. And so I recorded an entire album of lullabies for the new baby. And it worked so well for the parents as well as for the child because they're, really pretty tunes, but not too simplistic, that I continued the project to a double album, also an album of music to wake up to. And so with both, can I show them the album cover? I'm really proud of this album artwork. Brian Allen did this. And this is actually the first double CD in history that when you take the shrink wrap off like this, I'll just remove the shrink wrap, all the text comes off and you get two front covers. So you get the album of music to wake up to and the album of music to go to sleep to. And then when you push the moon, the stars and fireflies light up, and then there's a shooting star at the end. And I had that idea back in 2005 and finally got all the technical parts together to put it into the album. And I have so many great, wonderful musicians playing with me on the album. I figured this is the project that's worth the packaging.
Now, talking about the daylight side, I know it's different from the nightlight side, but how is it going to wake all of the adults up?
Yeah, well, it's not designed to wake you up so much, it's to energize you when you wake up. So it's all very optimistic music, starting with Here Comes the Sun, and then a lot of original music that I wrote especially for it. And the other thing is that the musicians who are playing with me, Victor Wooten from the Flecktones, and also Tommy Emmanuel's playing on there, Stanley Jordan, Earl Klug, and the drummer from the original Pat Metheny group, Danny Gottlieb, and full symphony orchestra on some cuts. So the thing is, every musician who's playing with me on this is also a really optimistic, great person, and there's these friendships that come through the music, and you can feel the interconnection between the musicians and the friendship on it. And so I think that energy really comes through, and it makes people feel better.
Could you go ahead and play for the daylight? I'm very excited to see
Okay.
this.
I'll do something kind of fun that we did. And Mark Kibble, the lead singer from Take Six, does this fantastic vocal on this. And Victor Wooten is playing the bass, and I've got all the other parts, but they're not here right now, so I'll have to play all the parts myself. So I'll start off here with a little bass, and then you'll hear the voice come in, and then the horn part too. A little Stevie Wonder tune.
Now, where can people purchase the CD and find more about you?
Well, you can do that right on my website, and that's murielanderson.com. It's M-U-R-I-E-L, Anderson, which is S-O-N.com, and you can click right on the Nightlight link to order that.
Now, after watching you play, I've just got to ask, doesn't it tear your nails to pieces?
Well, I have to be very careful. They're natural nails here, and I'm playing on a nylon string guitar, which is a little easier on the nails than the steel string. And I have to keep the edges sanded very smooth so nothing will catch on it. And only then will they last. And they get all the different kinds of tone by using the different combinations of my fingernail and fingertip.
How did you start with the fingerstyle guitar picking? Why did you choose that style?
It was just what was there at the time. I heard the music of Doc Watson, a great old picker from North Carolina, and I was enthralled. I just fell in love with that. And he did finger picking and flat picking. And so I just thought of the two as just equal parts of playing the guitar. And so I started off both doing flat picking and fingerstyle.
Now, do you have any other inspirations? Ones that you just looked up to and you said, I want to be like that?
Yes, yes. When I was in college, I was studying mandolin with Jethro Burns, and he said, well, I got to introduce you to my brother-in-law, Chet Atkins. And so I met Chet actually through the family and started going to Nashville and learned one-on-one from him, and he became a great inspiration as a person and his approach to music, every bit as much as his music itself.
You've performed or recorded with Chet Atkins, and I know you've performed in New York City with Les Paul. What is it like to perform with these legends?
It's like playing with your uncle, you know, because it's a different thing. When you feel that they're so supportive of the music, it just gives me energy, it makes me feel good, and allows me to play easily and without stress. It allows me to play better when I feel that kind of support coming from them. So it's a matter of the attitude and the energy. And so I get that energy when I play for an audience too. So if I could feel a good energy coming from that audience, it gives me energy. And so it's a give and take.
Now, I had never seen, switching gears a little bit, I had never seen a harp guitar until I watched you perform your cover of John McLean's Vincent. Could you explain to us how the harp guitar is different from a regular guitar and what it originated from?
Sure. Let me pull that up. Now, this harp guitar has 20 strings. I have several harp guitars with all different numbers of strings. And so basically this part is played like a regular guitar, although this instrument here is tuned higher because I had it built for me so that it would fit in the overhead bin of an airplane, actually. And that was the whole idea. So this this is not as long. A normal harp guitar will be a little bit longer to be full length. And the extra strings here are just resonating strings, and so they go down the scale in general, whatever notes I need there. And this particular instrument, not a lot of them have the extra trebles. This also has an extra bank of super trebles, we call it. And I have these in steel strings, and most harp guitars are all steel strings. The ones that were built in America were only built right around the year 1900. They were only built for about 20 years, starting about 1890, I believe. And so a very short period of time. And now we're seeing a comeback. We're seeing some builders are making harp guitars again.
Why do you think we see that comeback in harp guitars? Is there a need for it in music?
I think that there are more of us who are coming out and deciding that we need that for the full expression of our music. Because some of the music I was writing, it called for lower notes that weren't on my guitar. And so I kept on reaching down for these notes that weren't there. And I'd seen pictures of Michael Hedges playing a harp guitar, and so I went out to search for one. So I think that just that there are more performers now, we're starting to see them. And finally they're being built by the Holloway Harp Guitar Company, first company now that's building harp guitars since about 1910 or 1915. So they're out in California.
You play anything from folk music to classical music to international music. How did you gain such a vast knowledge of music?
I think it was just I played the music that made me happy, that that I really felt inspired to play, and that just changed over time. I heard the music of Christopher Parkening when I was senior year of high school. I think I first heard that, and then I just fell in love with that. It was over the summer, just before going to college, and so I set out to do that and study classical in college then for the next 4 years, and eventually went to study with Parkening directly at his master classes. So that was an inspiration at that time. And I love bluegrass. I still play bluegrass for fun, and that seeps its way into my music from time to time. And I played in the school jazz bands, and so it's just over time that I gravitated to certain tunes in certain styles.
Speaking of certain tunes, now you play Beatles in a lot of your performances.
Mm-hmm.
What pulls you toward the Beatles performing them?
Well, this year it's because of their anniversary, So, it's kind of intriguing. People are, pulling up more Beatles tunes again and playing them. And it's just great music. I'm inspired by the great music, and you can't say that the Beatles didn't come up with a lot of really great music.
Why do you feel the Beatles still have a lasting impact their songs do?
Well, I think it's that they weren't the same, everyone. They have so much breadth in their music, and it's real. It's music that's real, and people can feel that. So I think everyone's going back to the beautiful melodies. So one after the other, beautiful and different and interesting, intriguing melodies.
Going back to your harp guitar, I'd really like to see a performance of your harp guitar.
I'll do one that I wrote. You had mentioned the international music that we hadn't touched upon yet. Yeah. I wrote this after dancing Greek line dances until the wee hours of the morning, and woke up with this tune, and it's in 13/8 time. And so it's like a Bulgarian 13, and so if you're counting that, it's kind of, you dance it really more than you count it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's a little long, short, short, long, long. And that's why I call this one a baker's dozen.
all this music back from all over the world, and I know you share your music in workshops for students to perform. Tell me, how does one start teaching one who doesn't know anything about the guitar? How do you teach students who know nothing about fingerpicking?
Well, I taught a class for total beginner guitarists when I was teaching at Belmont University. So it's for adults who are just starting the guitar, who maybe play another instrument. And so it was fun to think of how I learned and what parts of it were the most fun to learn and that I learned the most. And so I find that there's certain things that you can do and that you can understand right off, like playing the blues. So if you start off, well, if actually you can play the blues just using these 4 notes. And then so you play those 4 notes, against this blues progression. And then people can right away, they can go like that. And so the thing that I do is I try to grab the interest and the thing that's fun and that's interactive that you can do together with other people first. And then once that inspiration is there, then you'll want to spend the time that's required to learn some of the more fine details of playing the instrument. It's a never-ending process.
Your charity Music for Life Alliance supports music education for young people. How do you feel about music in the arts being one of the first to cut fundings in public schools?
I think that makes no sense whatsoever, to cut out the one thing that inspires kids to learn and inspires many to stay in school, and it also has been proven to integrate the right and left hemispheres to make all of your learning more productive. So I think that I think it's people don't understand the totality of how the arts help learning in general. So that's one reason why I started the Music for Life Alliance. That's my charity that helps to support all the grassroots organizations that have sprung up around the country to get instruments and lessons to kids who otherwise wouldn't have that access.
You were the first woman to win the National Fingerpicking Guitar Championship. How did that make you feel, knowing that you were winning it for women everywhere playing guitar?
I didn't think about that whatsoever, and it didn't occur to me even that I was the first woman to win it. I did it purely as a practical standpoint because at that time I was just starting my career, and whenever they would put my picture in the paper that I was playing, or they would always put singer-songwriter. And at that time I didn't even sing. I sing now in my shows. But they just saw a woman with a guitar and they assumed that's what it was, not a woman that played at a higher level than strumming. So I figured I needed something to say that. And the first contest that I entered, I didn't win, but I had so much fun meeting the people that I went back the second year just for the fun of it. And it's a very supportive community. Backstage, we're all cheering each other on at the competition. And then when I won, 2 of the other contestants carried me onto the stage on their shoulders. So it's really wonderful to be in that supportive of an environment, and we continue to support each other.
Now, you say you didn't win the first year.
Yes.
What happened between the first year and then that year that they carried you on your shoulders to the stage?
Well, actually, the first year I thought I played better because it was warmer and my hands were warmer. The second year it was cold, very cold day, and everyone's hands were cold. But the first year I played all slow, pretty pieces. And the second year I played some of the fast, challenging ones. And I think that's just what the judges were looking for.
What pieces do your audience find is their favorite?
The slow, pretty ones. There's something. So I'll play a brand new one that you had mentioned Vincent. I could play that for you, or I could play the new one. Which do you
Now we just have a couple of minutes. I think
I'll play a little bit of the new one then. This one was just, I call it Dandelions. It was written for the album, and it's written right out of sentiment of love.
listening to you play that, it makes me think of space and how serene it is. And speaking of space, your Heartstrings recording accompanying the astronauts on the Space Shuttle Discovery. How do you feel knowing that your songs are they're not just played all over the world, but in outer space too?
Oh, that was really fun. And it was inspiring too to see the images that came down from the space shuttle, and just think, wow, the music was up there with it. And in fact, I wrote a tune based off of that. I won't play the whole thing. I'll play just a few notes from it so you can hear. That directly inspired from that.
I found a quote on your website from Leonardo da Vinci, and it says, "It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." How does this quote apply to your life?
Well, I found that in many ways it's so appropriate. It's when I feel driven that something needs to be done. I feel that to put energy that direction, positive energy in that direction, to feel, what can I do? The whole charity, the Music for Life Alliance, came about because there was a string of crime on my block. And so I went out and I met with some of the community leaders and said, where is this coming from? And they said, oh, it's all kids looking for drug money. And they said, well, what can I do with what I have to promote that? I figured, well, those are all kids whose art programs and music programs have been cut back, and they've got nothing to say yes to, you know? So, so that's when I started looking into those organizations and found one that was actually in my town. I created a format for one and then found a similar one, and that was the genesis, that was the beginning of the Music for Life Alliance. So it's a matter of just looking for positive ways to do things. And that applies to the music, to finding the notes, and applies to finding things in life to do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap up Direction Northeast.
My name is Ann Rowell. I'm an actress, and I got my start at Northeast State Community College. Just as acting truly allows me to express myself and learn new things about myself, my whole experience at Northeast State has allowed me to do that. I've found new interests, new hobbies, new passions that I would have never known had I not come here. Northeast State gave me a quality education, amazing friendships, but most importantly, it allowed me to discover who I want to be.
My name is Amanda Broom. I'm a mass communications graduate. I work behind and in front of the camera, and I got my start at Northeast State. We are constantly connected to our smartphones and to the internet, and that's why mass communications in particular is incredibly important, because we need it. I belong in college because I love learning. I love meeting people, and I love discovering new things. The best part about coming here was a quality personal education that was also affordable.
That concludes the program for today. We have talked about acoustic fingerstyle picking on the harp guitar and listened to the wonderful music of Muriel Anderson. Community is very important to the students at Northeast State Community College, and this program takes a look at a few of the subjects they find important. Until we meet next time, on behalf of the students, staff, and faculty of Northeast State Community College, I'm Katie Parks, and this is Direction Northeast.